All right, let me start this off by saying I'm a huge fan of both of theirs. They have both been a part of great moments in the culture. But when it comes to their feud, Charlemagne started it, Joe Budden ended it. Now, they've been knowing each other since Moncks Corner, South Carolina. Because Charlemagne was doing radio back then in his hometown. And Joe Budden was already famous by that time with the Pump It Up. People made fun of him for it, but that was a hit record at that time, and had to go to a bunch of radio stations all over the world, meet a bunch of people. That's just how that goes. And if y'all are familiar with Charlemagne, he always, he'll throw a few jabs at random people from time to time. That's just what he does. And Joe Budden wasn't that different. It was always little stuff going on, but it felt like Joe was letting a lot of shit slide. Even when Charlemagne would have, his ex Tahiri go on the Breakfast Club or Brilliant Idiots and basically start dirty macking. I mean, hard down dirty macking. It was a nasty sight to see. It was jab after jab, not only on the Breakfast Club, but on Brilliant Idiots. Just so he could have a chance to crack. Just a little chance, that's all. And Joe even brought that up on his podcast when he had Charlemagne guest on it. And Charlemagne denied dirty macking, but if you look at the clips, it was pretty bad. But still, Joe let that slide. Now, fast forward, this is once Joe Budden no longer had to do Love and Hip Hop. Podcast was doing much better after he had just finished a bit of what he called a bad deal with Spotify. And this right here is Jason Lee, the host of Hollywood Unlocked. Now, prior to a random interview that he did with Tahiri, he was steady asking Joe and Charlemagne, like, we should all team up, get together. We're like the biggest people in this media game. We should all team up and do something. And I don't know if Joe Budden was like, putting it off or ignoring it all the time or whatever, but one thing led to another, and all of a sudden, Tahiri is talking about domestic violence, accusing Joe Budden of hitting her and breaking her nose. Mind you, there is a video of her saying that it happened to her while she was at work at a bar. Because back in the day, she was a bartender. Not saying that it's not true or not. I honestly don't know because I don't know her personally. But she is on video saying that it happened to her because of a rude, crazy customer that broke her nose while she was serving drinks. And even though that video made its rounds, people were still steady calling him a woman beater. Everybody on platforms was talking about it. And yeah, you might have guessed it. Yep, Charlemagne was one of the people who throwing them digs. And once Charlemagne was involved, a whole bunch of people within a certain network were getting involved talking about it too. All that was put to a screeching halt once Joe Budden said what he said. When in the middle of his podcast mentioned and said that if certain stories keep coming out, and he said this to Charlemagne, I will make a call to Carolina to fly a certain young lady out and have her tell her story. Some of y'all are wondering, like, what the hell are you talking about? Well, Charlemagne was accused and arrested for SA. I think this was back in the 90s when this happened. And again, I don't know him personally. I don't know the woman personally. That's between them and God with what the truth is. But he was accused and he was arrested for that, and he does have that charge. So he technically is a registered offender. And not to be too much of a conspiracy theorist, because that's Joe's bag. That's what he does. As soon as he said that, everything got quiet. Like you would have thought, really, somebody pressed a button to undo it. Because literally a week after that, no one was talking about it, mentioning it. It was quiet. And after that, Charlemagne said he washed his hands with his relationship with Joe. For the past 5 or 6 years, we haven't gotten the end-of-year wrap-up with 2 monumental people in a while because of this silly shit. Really messed up because for the most part, they work good together.